I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend. Well, I don't know if you know who I am. Well, I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. Well, you can wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, and can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, I remember, don't worry. How could I ever forget? It's the first time, the last time we ever met. But I know the reason why you keep your silence up. No, you don't fool me, 'cause the hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. No stranger to you and me. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, and can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, oh. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh. Well, I can feel it in the air tonight. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, yeah. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, yeah. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
All right, welcome back. That was In the Air Tonight, covered by Lord. So I am here talking to my friend, the Memes of Destruction from Boston, Massachusetts, or thereabouts, somewhere in that area, right?
The greater Boston area.
The greater Boston area.
GBA.
So Memes, it's been a very eventful day and week indeed. Mr. Trump's impeachment hearings are going to be happening tomorrow morning. And there's also, of course, the timely dropout of Kamala Harris, as I call her.
No. She's a senator from the great state of California, but apparently her campaign does not have the funds to continue on.
Right, this is really, I guess what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to vote for, John Delaney now?
Is he still? Oh, he's the billionaire dude that buys Facebook ads?
No, that's Steyer.
Oh, Tom Steyer. I'm sorry, I'm confusing people. I
But
don't.
I think Delaney was also he got into the race very very earlier. I think he actually announced in 2017 or it might have been even right after the 2016 election. He announced he was going to run, and apparently 3 years of fighting it really got him to 0.5%. So good for him. Looks like we're also joined by Johnny Vito Rizzuto from the
Hey, how you doing? From the
yes,
underworld. Yeah, I just
exactly.
came back from that family gathering. Yeah. That's the ticket.
Well, yeah, he's literally from the underworld because he's dead. The real Vito Rizzuto is dead. But welcome.
So,
You're a zombie, Rizzuto?
yeah. You could talk. John Zombie Rizzuto. It sounds good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How's it pronounced? Mayonnaise?
Just me. It's all right.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get with my French accent.
I love it.
Right, so we're going to talk a little bit about some events that are happening over in Montreal. Vito, you don't have a lot of time. Do you want us to put you first, or are you good?
Let's get something. You know what? I'm late to the party. I need to. I'm trying to commit to this. Let's hash it out, guys. What's going on?
Okay.
So Kamala Harris,
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, check your stream, but basically, Senator Kamala Harris has basically more or less announced that she is going to
Just
be
dropped out.
suspending her campaign. Apparently, she doesn't have the money. She's going to do the rounds to her campaign offices, let the folks know that they fought the good fight and live again to fight another day, I guess.
Okay, so the real question is, who's she endorsing?
Wasn't it
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, who are the options really? I mean, is she really gonna after literally biting Biden's head off? Is she really gonna vote for Biden? I mean, is she really gonna endorse Biden rather?
My thinking is she might make like a pact with Peter Buttigieg or something, or possibly one of these other clowns. There's still. I mean, who's still in the race? There's Andrew Yang. I don't think.
Didn't Tim Pool say
He's the only
something
good one.
about? I thought Tim Pool said something about Mayor Bloomberg or something like that. I thought he said something about that a little bit earlier. I cannot confirm that. I don't have anything in front of me, but I'm just like, all I know is New York started with we had Mayor De Blasio, so we had MD, and now we have MB jumping into the race.
Well, I think that it's very unlikely that she'll endorse Bloomberg because she was complaining about him the most. Because once he dumped all of his money into the race, she was like, "Oh, it's unfair now. I'm not a billionaire. I can't really compete with these people." And then she just dropped out. So and I would say it's probably been only a week and a half since Bloomberg joined the race, and she's already dropped out. And the only other person who joined with Bloomberg was Deval Patrick, who, I mean, I don't know if you think that he has a chance, Memes, because you're from his state, but he hasn't made any headway, in my opinion.
Is
So
Seth
means
Moulton
you're from New York?
He's from Massachusetts.
I'm a
You're from
Masshole.
Massachusetts. I understand. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Masshole born and raised, brother.
Okay,
all I know is Governor.
So definitely not a Yankees fan, in other words.
I will not touch on that topic, Go Sox. But dude, all I know is Governor Deval Patrick. He's getting in the race. I remember Representative Seth Moulton. He's I believe he's a former military. I believe the Marine Corps. I could be wrong. Correct me, anybody. But he was running as well. I haven't seen him in any of the debates. I know he's said some things.
What's his name?
Seth Moulton. I mean, he's like a decent dude and stuff. I mean, he's actually similar to Tulsi Gabbard in probably a lot of ways.
I was gonna say
Probably
she's the only other
more
good one.
progressive. Yeah, no,
Yes, he is
I
a
saw.
former Marine Corps officer. That
Yeah.
is correct.
As far as Governor Patrick goes, I mean, he's kind of. I don't know, man. I mean, he was governor. Do I agree with him on everything? No. Um, I mean, he's a dude.
Yes, that indeed he is.
So
I mean, as far as I know,
so here's basically our countdown of good dem, like how we consider them, like not like radical Dems. So I would say, first of all, this guy Seth Moulton, Andrew Yang,
Well, Seth Moulton dropped
Tulsi.
out months ago, so he's not in the race anymore.
Oh, okay, I understand. Sorry, I didn't understand. I didn't
we
understand that part.
went from SM to DP.
Explain.
That's awesome.
Explain.
Well,
But
so he's
SM,
going by the initials because Seth
right?
Moulton's initials are SNM and
Right.
Devil Patrick's is DP.
Okay.
So,
I think some potty minds.
yeah,
It's okay. Let's continue onward.
yeah, we're from the
Okay,
Mad
let's
Dodge
go.
stream, so it gets pretty rowdy up there.
Got it.
Yeah, keep going,
Got it.
Vito.
Let's. So then we have obviously Tulsi, right?
Uh huh.
So we said Andrew Yang, Tulsi, and
Actually, hold on. This is a bold like a leopard news report. Apparently, Andrew Yang has ended his campaign, according to MC.
oh my goodness,
What?
Wow.
I think he's
that is a
lying.
thing.
I don't know. Maybe he's suspended. I don't know. Is he getting the fundraising still? I mean, I
There's
thought he
no
was
way that
some polls.
Andrew
I
Yang
mean,
Continue.
is doing very
I mean,
well.
literally 2 days ago, there's a story by Politico where it says in 24 hours, Andrew Yang raised $750,000.
That's
I mean,
I
that's
mean,
a
respectable.
lot of money. That's a lot of
no,
money
Yeah.
it is, but is it from a
for a
unique
small guy. I
donor?
mean,
No. But no. But my question is, the way the DNC's been running it, I thought they were doing total money raised along with a number of unique donors as well, because there could be a lot of the folks that are really backing Andrew Yang, and they could be continuing to donate to his campaign. Like, dude, like some of that Yang gang and stuff. I was hanging out with those dudes; they're really into it.
yeah,
But if you're not
yeah, they're
expanding your base, because that's the thing. Tulsi, I do think she's at least growing it. I did notice signs in Manchester, New Hampshire for Tulsi 2020. And again, that could have just been proximity, but at least last time I noticed a lot of Trump signs the last time I was there. I mean, he didn't end up win, but it's one of those things, man. So I'll look into this. Continue on.
okay. So, I mean, look, I can't tell you obviously because I'm not American, but I mean, I wish I was American, but I'm just not. So, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
But
And I'd
you're
be
a
able to tell you
paisan,
who's
eh?
who,
Keep
yeah,
going.
I'd be able to tell you who's going to be the next Don, but I'm not going to be able to tell you. I can tell you who my protege is, or maybe not, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you exactly next to me at least. Um, who has the merchandise. Who has which presidential candidate's merchandise. Um,
What do you
I
mean
can't
by
see like
what do
I
you mean by
can't.
that?
I've seen a lot of
Oh, you
Hillary
mean
20.
by you don't know because you can't drive around here and see whose yard signs are up?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Okay.
I can't see whose canvases are up. You
Yeah,
know.
I can tell you. I can't speak for like New Hampshire is obviously it's a little closer to where Memes lives, but here in Ohio, I've seen a couple of Andrew Yang signs. I've seen a couple of Elizabeth Warren signs, and the rest of the city is basically there's nobody cares. Like this, the entire primary process is a it's not even an afterthought. It's basically like
So
It's like
So
a
most of
stale
Canada
fart that
took
was left in the locker room.
yeah, so most of Canada took Hillary Clinton campaigning for president as like an empowering movement.
Hmm.
Like it was discussed in like university classes. I can tell you firsthand. It was basically very significant for Canadians. So I saw a lot of Hillary for president, Hillary 2016 signs like on bumper stickers or like hanging on walls, for example. But the coolest thing that I've ever seen was I'm driving with my friend and we pull up next to this old guy smoking a cigar in his car, and it's like summer, his like hood is off and everything, and he's chilling in an old school yellow Beetle with a Make America Great Again hat. Make America Great Again hat. And I actually started dying. I had to take a snapshot of it. It was like the most un-Canadian thing, but at the same time, like can't explain it. No words. It was amazing.
It's self-expression, and I must update a clarification because apparently, according to MC about Andrew Yang ending his campaign, um, I'm going to take that as his personal opinion because his video was basically about since Senator Kamala Harris has dropped out, some have speculated that some may go to Andrew Yang. It will not
Hmm.
after this viral footage gets out there. And he proceeded to link to a picture of what looked like a Mr. Andrew Yang at a town hall, and he was giving a young gentleman a whipping.
What?
Wow.
Yes, I'll put the
So
link
so
in the chat.
powerful.
So
Great.
he's getting whippets. He seems to be enjoying himself, but I believe, in MC's opinion, that is beyond the pale and will end Andrew Yang's campaign.
No, I think Andrew Yang is like 2 or 3 months to go before, and I think he's definitely. I mean, I don't like Andrew Yang. I think he really revealed that he's pretending to be against the establishment, but he still believes in the Russia hoax. So I certainly don't support him. I support him. I don't support any of those candidates on the Democratic side. Even Tulsi Gabbard, I think she's relatively normal, but I mean that's the most I'll concede. But it does seem to be there's been like credible death threats against his supporters in New Hampshire. That's
Like
the
because she saw it. Sorry, what
this
was that?
was yeah this was from today. So I think memes. I think you're still getting like crazy interference on your mic, so you might want to fix that if you can. Um,
I
but
think
yeah,
I think our countdown's done. There's really, I mean, unless you guys consider like Beto and like, I mean, who dropped out,
no,
but like
all
unless you
those people
consider
who
like
dropped out don't.
Beto and like Elizabeth Warren like stable or like moderate Democrats, then like I don't know, our
No,
list is basically done.
anyone who dropped out doesn't count. So the
Okay.
people who are left, you have Michael Bloomberg, who is viable only because he has a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
You have Peter Buttigieg, I think, has he's overperforming. So I mean, if the interesting thing is this, so only a few people have mentioned this that I follow, but it's a very very important thing. Let's say that the House votes to impeach Donald Trump. That means that all of the senators who are campaigning to be president will be sidelined because they have to effectively be the jury at his trial before the Senate. So that means Harris would have had to go. Sanders, Booker, there's other people. Sanders, Booker, Warren, Klobuchar, and Michael Bennett is another. He doesn't. It doesn't matter because he sucks. So none of those people would be available to campaign, and it would effectively like be the kill shot to their campaigns in the month of January when a lot of them would be campaigning in Iowa and New Hampshire for the first caucus. So this impeachment thing is basically like kryptonite for Democratic campaigns for president if you're in the Senate. Now, it would be great news for people like Buttigieg, who's just a mayor, but he's not running a city. So the big flaw with him is that if something crazy happens in South Bend, which did happen earlier this year, there was a black guy that was shot by the cops, and it almost created a huge race riot there. So if something like that happens again, he's going to be in huge deep water. He's going to be in very deep trouble. But
Hmm.
I'm not. I don't like the guy. I think he's doing very well for himself. He's not resorting to the whole, parading around like because he's gay and whatever. So, and when he answers questions, he's like, I don't think that he sounds ridiculous. So I guess in this Democratic race, that's an advantage. Not sounding like a complete moron is an advantage. Now he's said a few things that are kind of you turn your head and you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? But they're compared to some of the things that Elizabeth Warren has said, or that Julian Castro said about transsexuals and things like
Okay, but
that.
that guy's just next. I mean, now we're entering the deep end here.
Right? Yeah. So Julian Castro is probably going to have to drop out. Cory Booker is going to have to drop out, and a lot of these other also ran candidates are going to have to drop out because there's no oxygen in the room for them to breathe. And by oxygen, I mean sweet donor cash. So that's the state of the
So
race.
it's a saturated market to be a politician. What can I say?
I mean, why don't you run for president as the candidate for you've run several reputable businesses over in the Quebec area,
Well,
Vito Rizzuto.
as the time moves on, the body gets older. You can't take care of yourself like you used to. So you make a legitimate business. What can I say?
Right. All right.
Corleone Group.
So if you're just joining, I know some of you might have been on the Hard Bastard stream. So we have Johnny Vito Rizzuto and Memes
Hey,
of
how you
Destruction.
doing?
So Memes I think has an issue with his mic, but we're gonna delve into
Oh,
this.
wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. If I think there's a little inference, I'll go fix that in a second. But dude,
I
all
hear you.
I know is that I'm like, wait, hasn't politics become a quote unquote legitimate business? And isn't that the
I
problem?
mean, I mean, you know the old saying about politics.
If you can't beat them, join them.
No, it's the second oldest. It's like the
Oh,
second oldest
oh,
profession.
oh! I thought that was prostitution, or being
No, that's the first oldest profession.
oh, my apologies. I, dude, all I know is I'm like, I thought you were supposed to.
Politics
What?
is an evil game, and
Well,
everybody has the interest of the party and
well, that's
themselves.
well, that's how the system is set up. When you look at, dude, all I know is when I'm seeing things, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Doku that showed me something where they actually correlated all like the basically how the campaigns and stuff spent their money. And when I'm seeing like Elizabeth Warren donating to like Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz does donating to Elizabeth Warren or something like that, even if it's like $1,500, because why? They need to send it. I'm looking at these balance sheets of these campaigns. I'm like, wait a second, these aren't balance sheets, but for some reason they look very much like balance sheets. And if I'm looking at a company and I'm like, millions of dollars taken in, very little, if not any debt, and basically the same amount paid, I'm like, that's a political machine. In this case, I mean, like that's you would rate that as a buy business, and you also have political
Yeah,
influence.
it's a business. It is. It's a
Wait, so
business.
so before we forget the issue, so I did want to mention this was actually the reason I was going to have the stream to begin with. So Mr. Rizzuto lives in Montreal, and there have been a number of issues with the McGill University. I guess student government. I have a couple stories here. One is from the Montreal Gazette from December 2nd, 2019.
Yeah, you can
Trip
put
to
it up
Israel
if
causes uproar at McGill Student Society, but also in 2017, this is from National Post. McGill Student Council again in turmoil after Jewish student removed over BDS issues. So, I mean, rather than just read the articles, could you give us some insight over what the hell is going on there? Why people seem to care that this lady
so
is traveling to Israel?
so so the situation. Look, I basically know as much as the tabloids offer.
Right.
you know.
Well, I mean, you're Vito Rizzuto. You could know more.
But from what I can tell you, the situation is tense. Okay, and in it seems like more and more people are taking notice to the situation, particularly within the Israeli media. So now the situation is not only um, now the situation is not only out in like locally, it's out like internationally. So look, it's causing a lot of tensions with McGill itself. It's causing tensions within the McGill Student Union board that they have there, the SSMU, I think they call it. And the bottom line is that this girl is being threatened that if she goes and travels to Israel as somebody who's Jewish, she's not involved in politics at all. She's some kind of science student. I think she's in like biology or microbiology. She's a brilliant young lady. She wants to visit her country. She wants to come back as a proud Canadian and Jew, and she wants to continue doing her job ethically and morally on the McGill student board. And if these students are prepared to alienate her based on whatever bias they have against her, whether it's BDS, whether it's the fact that she's Jewish, whether it's the fact that she's a Zionist, then it's this is completely disgraceful. That's the bottom line. Yeah, that yeah, you know, it all belongs in in the grand scheme of things. It all belongs on in this idea of political correctness. You know that Israel is a colonial state and that it's basically terrorizing Palestinians. I mean, it's completely bogus, but that's besides the point. The idea
Wait a
is that
second.
these students go for it.
Go. Oh no, go on. Finish your thought.
Okay. I just wanted to say that the facts are is that these students have on their water bottles, I'm saying the leading administration of the student board have stickers like pro BDS stickers or like pro Palestine stickers and it really it just demonstrates what kind of environment that the students at McGill, particularly Jewish students or pro-Israel students, have to go through on a daily basis. And I can tell you because I went through it firsthand that it's not difficult to navigate in. It's really not. It's sorry, it is very difficult to navigate in. It's not easy at all.
Number one. Sorry, but I'll finish. Go on.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so number one, shalom, brother. Uh,
Shalom, brother. That's
Number two,
a
now, I maybe I'm a bad Jew, sorry, but dude, all I know, man, is okay. From what you laid out, man, it kind of sounds like whoever was on like that student governing board or something. Like she was a member. No, like the reason I'm asking, dude, is because like I actually served as a senator representing the College of Management back in school. So like if this was a similar situation, it sounds like she's being potentially excluded from being a part of basically the student government because she
because
wants
she's
to
Jewish.
go there and she's not basically pro BDS.
That's that's the idea. So the truth is, I I don't think that she. You see, this tactic has been used before. It's not they a lot of the pro-Israel students get pushed out of the student board. A personal friend of mine who served on the student board was pushed out because he was pro-Israel. He wasn't even Jewish. He was pro-Israel.
Now was this at McGill as well?
Exactly.
So you're saying there's a pattern here?
Oh, I mean, if you wanna, I mean, I've discussed this on the show already. I've discussed this multiple times, but if you can go as far back as, for example, to the foundation of Concordia University, which was primarily built with the intention of inviting Jewish students, because McGill had a quota on Jews, to, let's say, back in 2002, when there was the Netanyahu riots instigated by Concordia students specifically by the CSU, led by the CSU, and from like outside BDS organizations. It was a riot. They literally broke the glass on the schools. There's a whole documentary on it on YouTube. You can check it out if you want to find it. Bold, you can check it out there.
Okay. Well, but can you send it to me later?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, here's just a random out there question. Have you perhaps attempt to write and maybe reach out to Professor Peterson? I understand Dude Man is going through everything right now, but the only reason I say that is because I believe McGill University is his alma mater.
You know,
Yeah, I think you might be right.
it's at this point, it's not in my hands. I'm not really, you see, I'm not really involved with the student government. I'm not really involved in student politics.
Have you considered it?
I mean, it's not really something. It's not really something that I can consider at this point.
Is it
See,
because you don't?
I've already graduated. I've already
Oh,
graduated.
roger that.
But I'm actually back in school now, so that's why I'm in the middle of exams. But I'm doing a certificate so that I can apply for a master's after that.
So let me just ask this, because I mean you got to try to be fair and balanced. It's like, any of these individuals that are either threatened at potentially being removed that you're talking about, were there any reasons brought up aside from basically just traveling to the homeland and or not supporting BDS? Were there other potentially legitimate reasons for maybe removing somebody? Because I remember even when I served my one term as like a senator from the College of Management, man, there was like
Mhm.
some kerfuffle and like the president had been removed and something, but they were still there in another capacity, and they were. I don't know, man. All I know is I just did the job and represented the commuters.
So look, I mean, I graduated from Concordia University, so my environment was, um, I want to say a bit different. The there's no, you see, the type of coverage that you get from McGill is different than the coverage you get at Concordia. It's almost like international versus local. It's that type of idea. So the anti-Semitism really came out through, um, for example, the exclusion, like the almost exclusion of the Israel on campus group, like the complete exclusion of it from campus. The students had to literally go to court, I believe, to reinstate their membership, or they almost had to go to court because they were threatened. They were, their exclusion was like their group was almost like threatened from exclusion, from total exclusion. So it's
There
just
was
that type of stuff on a daily basis that students have to live through. It's
so
not.
basically.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh no, yeah, no. It sounds more like disparate treatment potentially.
It's Yeah, it's if you're a Jewish or pro-Israel student, it's more if you're a pro-Israel student. If you're Jewish, you're like very pro-Palestine, you can get away with a lot. But if you're like Jewish and pro-Israel, you have like a target on you. If you're running in student politics, rather.
Right. So I saw a situation happen that was arguably similar in 20, I think it was 2017 at UCLA, where the student body president was an Indian guy named, I forgot his name, but he was an Indian guy. And there had been a deliberation over whether to accept, I guess, as their representative from the UCLA Law School, this Jewish woman named Rachel Beda, and there was actually like an open debate whether they should have a Jewish person represent them as a law student.
Okay.
And I think that there had to. I'll pull it up. So um, there was like a faculty representative who had to step in and say, "Hey, I know that this is kind of your thing. This was in 2015. Sorry. So um, so even she
That's
got to
insane.
meet Barack Obama because of this, but
Wow.
it says there was a UCLA student government panel interviewing candidates for the judicial post. Initially rejected her for being Jewish and involved in Jewish groups. So this happened, and I don't know if there was any disciplinary measure enforced over the other board members, but it said here. But the Bruin editorial board argued the extent of Beta's involvement in Jewish community groups is irrelevant to her ability to be an effective judge, even in those kinds of cases. So it's for the judiciary. There's a judiciary committee. So it says if Beta cannot make decisions about issues that affect her community, can a Muslim student in the Muslim Student Association or a Black student in the African Student Union do so? So this has come up at UCLA. On my campus, nobody gave a shit about anything related to student government. So mostly we just had like an Egyptian guy run everything, and he didn't. I think he was just using it to pad his resume. So
Okay.
yes. So anyway, continue.
No, you continue.
No, you continue.
What do you want me to say next?
All right.
What do you
I
want me
think
to?
I'm gonna BDS Johnny Vito Rizzuto.
You need to.
No, I'm just kidding, man.
I was listening. I'm in the middle of listening to you. I'm waiting for you to go on, and then I'm waiting for
Oh,
the punch, and then he just stops.
no, somebody say some progressive conversation. I think these are how people come up with the
Okay.
quote unquote Zionist conspiracies, because it's like, yeah, they've got
Okay.
3 Jews in a
So
call.
here,
One's
so
like,
let me.
you go, no, you go, no, you go. I'm waiting for you to tell me what to say. Come on.
So
You know what they say? There's
let
a
me
very
look at
famous
something in
saying.
the so then the chat. Straight Sets Mail says, okay, so I think we should be allies with Israel, but they don't deserve my taxes. So the issue we're talking about right now is in Canada. It's not even in the U.S. But I've actually written about my opinion that the U.S. shouldn't be giving any foreign aid to anyone, and I'm saying that as a former service member for the IDF. But I've talked to Johnny about it, Johnny Vito Rizzuto. I've discussed it with other people. It's not necessarily a popular opinion in the Jewish community, but in this case, we're not even talking about foreign aid. We're just talking about a woman who goes to college in Canada who wanted to go on it was either a vacation or a kind
Yeah,
of a
exactly.
research trip to Israel, and they wanted to remove her from a student government role. So this is really separate from American foreign policy because we're talking about a Canadian citizen. Yes, she's a Canadian Jewish citizen. To my knowledge, she doesn't have Israeli citizenship. Maybe I'm wrong, Vito.
I don't think so. I just believe she's just a regular. She's an ordinary Canadian Jew. That's it.
Right.
Wait a second. Is this the vacation that they talk about where basically they kind of bring you over for a week and if you're a young Jewish man, they're like, oh, look, there's some young Jewish women over here. They seem to very much like you. I'm curious, is it that kind of thing or?
From my understanding, the trip is actually a very balanced trip where they actually take you not only to Israel but to the territories as well.
Dude, all I know is that's what I was told it was like. That's what some people I know told me. I never took it myself. I think I'm too old.
Yeah, you're talking about Birthright, which was really what they used to do. So I was on Birthright when I was actually, I think it was 19 years old. Maybe I was 18. I don't remember. But yeah, they go there and they actually make hints that somebody on this trip could end up giving birth to your child. So it's pretty. Yeah. So
That's weird.
when I read the article on this, and I think I I actually asked Vito about this because I knew he is from Montreal and that he controls all the garbage unions and other various rackets in Montreal. So, and he said, yes, I have very strong familiarity with this because both of these groups pay extortion money to my consortium of business owners. So, in any case, any other like real are there other issues like this that happen day to day on the campus of McGill or Concordia?
Oh man,
Is this kind of
plenty.
like unusual, or is this just like something that kind of came to note because the woman
Yeah,
was going to lose
we
her
could literally,
position?
yeah, we could write books about it. Not book, we could write books. I mean, it's something that happens. There's definitely a pattern of anti-Semitism at both Concordia and McGill.
Uh huh.
I mean, it's not hidden. It's very clear that the students on like as a whole and as well as the faculty are rather anti-Semitic.
Have you ever tried to raise this topic with Dr. Saad or one of your friends? Because
Yeah, but
he
no one can
teaches
do
there.
anything.
Oh, okay.
No one can do anything. Who's going to do something?
Dr.
Who can do
Saad,
something? What can he do?
he can make a huge ruckus because
He
he's
can't.
I thought he taught at Concordia University.
He does, but what can he do? He can't get involved in student politics.
it's a fair point. Well, no, but
What
he
happened
can
last
make.
time? What happened last time when a Canadian teacher challenged a student? He was almost lynched. They literally almost lynched Jordan Peterson.
I thought you were going to talk about Rick Mehta.
I mean, I don't know exactly what happened in that instance, but I can just tell you that in the instance with with Jordan Peterson, they really got upset with him. Like I actually thought they were gonna tie him up and leave him hanging there. I really thought that was gonna happen. I was actually scared for him when I was watching that video. Like, who knows what could have happened? Some of those kids on campus are actually radical. Like I've seen the Steven Crowder Antifa, like going undercover with Antifa. I've seen that. It's scary. Those kids have guns, and Toronto's no place to joke around. You know what I mean?
Right. So I think that it's really bizarre how extreme politics has become on Canadian campuses, and it's really this is something I always emphasize because a lot of people are talking about identity, and we're talking. I bet like a month ago, I think I even mentioned this on the phone to you, Vito, that this whole Groyper thing is also it's kind of like a reaction to the identity politics of the left. Now you're having identity politics of the so-called right, but really what we're talking about right now is the poisonous academic atmosphere. And I actually might write something about this week because I've been talking to a few people who are alumni at colleges over here in the U.S. So, in summary, yeah, I think it's really. I mean, all ball busting aside, I know you try your best as the head of the Rizzuto crime family to make a safe
To
environment
spare
for
more.
yourself and other Italian people there. But do you think maybe we could talk offline about some ideas that I have about various things that can be done? I don't think it would be specifically only helpful for the Montreal community, but on in many colleges, I think that this type of thing, and it's not restricted to
Let's talk
the
about it. Let's talk about it.
yeah, it's not
Let's talk about
restricted
it.
to the BDS issue and Israel Palestine, but it certainly is very, very common with regards to that topic. So
I've been told. I'm not sure if you can hear me now. If that's
yeah,
any
I can hear
better.
you
Yeah,
perfectly.
I can hear you too.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's
beautiful.
better.
But essentially, even at my last job, one of the gentlemen there, he was like reading articles and stuff as he was finishing his shift, and he's like, dude, anti-Semitism is on the rise and stuff, and this is like right in Manchester, New Hampshire, brother. So it's like there are
Yeah,
things, and
it
one of the
is.
things, and this is where I think we start to have the disconnect, because when all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of folks kind of on the right saying, look at all these communists and stuff, and when a lot of, I feel like some of the proxy arguments, if you would, are being done with folks that, okay, maybe they heard some good things, but it's more like, well, you're attacking people that I kind of have good relations with, and I'm kind of defending these people because you use some very harsh language, the same that you basically have a lot of folks in the media now pointing out the fact that it's like, yeah, no, Charlottesville was a thing. Heather Heyer did lose her life there. 2 police officers also died in a chopper crash, dude. Like, lives were lost on that day. But it's just when all of a sudden you start equating that and basically saying, well, I'm going to call you alt-right, which is basically me more or less saying that you're a Nazi. And if you start applying that to folks that you simply disagree with, this is why, like, I did the whole rally to restore Sandy and or Turtles, because I agree with Jon Stewart. Frickin' Nazi and Stalinist, those are terms that are earned. That's the thing, man. Just start labeling
Yeah,
everybody everything. It's like those words all of a sudden, it's like they just stop losing meaning. So you're gonna say it. It's like if all of a sudden somebody goes up to somebody in however many years and it's like, well, you're a racist, and they're like, so what? It's like that sounds like a problem, because as far as I know,
yes,
most
you're right.
Americans don't identify as being racist.
They won't understand.
Yeah, no, or
While
Canada or the UK too. Yeah.
simultaneously they literally create a like pseudo hierarchy of racism.
Well, that's the tough thing, because I've talked with some folks that I've been on some streams with, and I don't believe they're alt right. I believe they may identify as more or less alt light, if that's a thing, or at least harder right. And basically, we were just kind of discussing that same thing. It's like if you go around and
No,
you
no, I'm
use,
talking about coming from the left.
oh, what? Well, I mean,
I'm talking about
I think it works
the
similar in both ways, man. That's the thing. I see a lot of
yeah,
the similar things. They happen in different ways on different
yeah, it's
platforms,
true.
but I think we see a lot of similarities. And this is where one of the dark things where I'm not sure the alternative influence report necessarily pointed it out and explained it in the same way, but the issue I have is, okay, let us take a lot of the talking points that we've heard on YouTube from the right. It's like, okay, let me fully entertain the idea that our universities, our higher education system is a full-on Marxist indoctrination thing. I remember going through the university system in a pretty progressive state, man. I remember reading the Communist Manifesto. I'm like, oh, those are some interesting ideas. It would be nice if we could do that. I don't currently see a feasible way of implementing these without making the mistakes and going down an authoritarian road of the
Yeah,
past.
it sounds
It-
nice, but it's not real.
however, no, however, it's like, what if there happened to be some folks that maybe those ideas resonated more with? So let's say you get up to perhaps that the number I hear thrown around, about 8% of folks that on the quote unquote far left that are very noisy, they're very active online, they care a lot about these issues, but it's technically a minority in that respect. Okay, now if I'm going to also apply something like a standard distribution curve to this, and I'm going to assume that seeing as our countries are fairly evenly split, okay, if that happens in universities, what happens if those more conservative ideas aren't necessarily being taught in universities, but what if they're being presented on the internet? Would we not necessarily see a similar situation potentially occur from, like, let's say maybe a PragerU or something like that? Maybe there's certain individuals that may be a bit more predisposed because of whatever they've experienced within their lives and everything to some of those ideas. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, the I don't know if you know about this, but there was a shooter. I believe this is the story. I believe um, there was a mosque shooter in Quebec City, in Canada, and apparently, allegedly, he was a fan of Ben Shapiro. I'm not sure if this is the story that it belongs to, or if it's a story about another shooter from the school. But um, in any case, they basically tried to pin this whole thing on Ben Shapiro and saying that he was like he was influenced by Ben Shapiro to do this. That's what the media was like, basically, sort of like subtly insisting.
I heard something tangentially kind of really. I feel like I heard about that, but I didn't really pay it much heed. So I'm like, okay, so are they labeling this gentleman as like a basically neo-Nazi or something along those lines that was
Right,
influenced
right.
by
So
a
so
conservative Jewish gentleman?
right. So by basically demonizing Ben Shapiro like that, they're basically making him some type of neo-Nazi. You know what I mean? And that's like, and he always ridicules that exact statement because I mean he's like a small Jewish guy with a kippah. You know what I mean?
Well,
So like, who's he really gonna hurt?
well, my issue that I have with when you start making those arguments is okay, you can make those arguments fair enough. You can say that, well, he's dehumanizing these people to the point where they want to inflict violence upon others. However, if all of a sudden you start demonizing Ben Shapiro, does that not make you guilty of the same crime you're accusing him of?
No, right. Well, the thing is that
I mean, you could say Ben Shapiro's kind of a dick. I mean, I don't think that's an unfair
Whoa, whoa,
statement.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Are we going to say negative shit about Ben Shapiro on this show? I would never have it happen. Fuck him.
No,
here's
no,
the
he brings up points, but it's
I
like,
don't.
and you know what? I can appreciate the dude for when he
okay.
ended up
We
owning himself on that show with the conservative from the UK.
No, I think
okay.
like it's kind of funny when things like this happen, and Ben Shapiro gets blamed for things that aren't his fault, but he does
You love
blame
that.
people for things that I mean he does the same thing to other people, and I think the main message that I've been trying to stick to, and it's not always easy for me, is that you need to have as broad of a freedom of speech mandate as possible. And the Groyper War has been a bit of a it's been a good test for this whole theory that allowing people to voice their opinions is something that is necessary for a healthy society, even if some of their opinions are kind of ridiculous, but or if their opinions can be disproved. you know Flat Earth theory, for example. um, the idea that flat Earth theory is dangerous for humanity because it's untrue is ridiculous. You can talk to these people, and you can present to them your case, and then they're going to continue to talk about how the Earth isn't round, and life goes on. So I think that personally, it's like I'll tell you what I've been thinking about since you guys started talking about this. This friend of mine posted this article from the Washington Post from today where they allege that. So I'll try to pull it up. So they allege that there's these new Hanukkah movies that are coming out, and that they're actually anti-Semitic. And
Hold on a second, full bore.
No, no,
right.
no. It's the Christmas ornaments.
There are Hanukkah
No,
holiday
not
movies.
that one. Not that one.
That's a
Vito. Where
thing.
there this is about these Hanukkah movies. So
Okay.
so um so wait. So what were you gonna say, memes? I'm still trying to pull it up.
Wait, there's such a thing as Hanukkah holiday movies?
Well, they're
Yeah.
making
Eight Crazy Nights.
they made a couple this week. Yeah, Eight Crazy Nights. They're
Oh,
eight
that's
cra-
right. Yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
movie.
but they made a couple for Hallmark because we're not talking about like comedy movies. They wanted these cheesy movies, and I pulled this up. It's archived. I'll put it in the chat if you guys want to read it.
Well, I
And
mean, if they want to compete with Melissa Joan Hart or whatever on the other network for Christendom and stuff, power to them.
but the thing is, so they did it,
I like
and what
Sabrina.
are these people saying? They're saying that these movies are actually anti-Semitic because one of the movies is, and actually, let me open the image of the author here. So let's zoom. I didn't see this, but this is what she looks like, and I think that when you present
I mean, I
yourself in
can't
this
see, but
way, you'll see in a second if you look at the here. Let me do this screen share.
what do you
So
got?
1 second. You should be able to see in a second. Here. So
You know.
this woman is writing that these Hallmark movies, are they're anti-Semitic. Brittany de la Creatas, and the problem is that the movies sound really, really stupid, and one of them just involves a woman or a guy who goes to his in-laws' Christmas, and he's Jewish, and I guess the father suspects that he's deceiving them or something, and then that plays into the trope
Hmm.
that Jews are deceivers. And then they talk about how that's analogous to Donald Trump calling Adam Schiff shifty. So that's one of their points. And then there's another one that's kind of about this woman who plans a Christmas party with a Christian friend, but she's not Jewish. She's Jewish, and the other. So they're trying to allege that these movies are anti-Semitic as opposed to what they really are, just like other Hallmark movies. Huge wastes
Full
of
of
time that nobody,
full
nobody,
of.
yeah, like only people who are like 45 and over would probably really appreciate the type of, um, you know, entertainment that, if you can call it that, that these movies have. Certainly not people that should be watching the Bold Like Little. In fact, if you watch these movies, unsubscribe and fuck off, and don't watch
Now,
this show again, because we don't have wholesome
Okay, bye.
content on this show. It's
now,
banned.
now, now. There's nothing wrong with a little wholesome content here. I mean, it kind of sounds like the young lady
I'm disavowing
here.
Memes of Destruction's current
That's
statement.
that's fine. I'm often disavowed, but no, it sounds like this young lady. She was disappointed. She didn't. They weren't what she was hoping for, and then it kind of turned into what, like 3 degrees of Donald Trump.
Yeah, that was part of it, but there was. I
Yeah,
mean, that wasn't even the most
exactly.
ridiculous thing she said. So let me see. Did I just close it? No, it's still
It,
here. So it's
is
Shifty
is is
shit.
is Adam
Am I
Schiff
an
Jewish?
anti-Semite?
Adam Schiff is Jewish, but like
Oh,
the problem
okay.
is that Shifty. I mean, the guy's like a lying piece of shit. So what do you want him to say? No, he's not lying because he's Jewish. I mean,
Well, he happens to have the name, and it kind of works for the
I
mimetic.
think I think at least two of us on this stream are Jewish, and I mean, most of our opinions are that Adam Schiff is a dumb piece of shit, right?
Yeah, I'm Catholic.
I mean, he's
Right.
doing well. Technically, I think I am too. I had the water splashed on me.
Wow. I'm the only one that never had to
I told you I was a
kneel at
bad
the.
dude. You freaking served in the IDF, man. Like you have cred.
No,
I like
so
the Catholic people. I have nothing against you, but I just want
as
to
an
say
actual
that
Jewish person, does it make me an anti-Semite for calling Adam Schiff shifty? Shifty Schiff.
By proxy, yes.
Does that also make me an anti-Semite for
Where
disliking Jews
are you
who
a self-hating Jew?
I'm my self-hating Jew? I mean, I don't like Jews that dislike Israel.
That sounds like you disagree with somebody on a topic.
Yeah, but there's like something inherent about that topic that makes me just not get along with them sometimes.
Do you think it might be similar on the quote-unquote other side of the issue?
Like, imagine you're an American and somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I don't like America." Are you going to get along with them?
I mean, that's very un-American of them. I mean, they have freedom of speech to do so.
Exactly. And you have freedom of speech or freedom of expression or freedom of movement to literally go anywhere you want,
Right.
except to talk to that person.
But all I'm saying, man, is kind of like, okay, I'm taking like what you're explaining right there, dude, and I get what you're coming from, but it's just if you take that same thing that you brought up and you apply it to that, it's like, okay, those folks, and that's why I asked, were there any other particular issues that were brought up with those members of the student government? Because if there were, it sounds like there were a bunch of other folks that felt like they were on the other side of the issue, and they might kind of feel the same way, and that might kind of explain where they're coming from. If you get what I'm saying.
Here's this. One student commented on the initial Facebook post that was published by the young lady, and it was a Palestinian girl who claimed that she was pro-Palestinian, but despite her political views, she does not believe that any student should be alienated or excluded from the student body or from student politics as a result of
So
their personal political views.
she was promoting inclusion.
This Palestinian girl in particular was promoting inclusion, and my hat is off to her.
And I take it that other folks that disagreed with that didn't take as kindly to it.
I don't know the specific feedback from that comment, But from the situation, if you just take a look at some of the videos from York University, you can see some of the very happy folks holding the Palestinian flags with their happy faces.
I mean, again, if you have the right to express yourself, and again, I'm not sure the exact Canadian law, but at least over here, it's like, I mean, you folks can put up whatever flags they want and everything. I mean, if you love the country and everything, and you might consider yourself a patriot, I mean, a lot of times you'll hold an American flag up because it's supposed to be a symbol of freedom.
Well, I think it's pretty funny. So I'll say this because I'm probably, I try to be a freedom of speech absolutist, even if it makes me sound sometimes like Kyle Kalinske. But when I see a lot of people making the dual loyalty accusation, I don't get offended personally because I don't care. I've been called all sorts of names my entire life, but I just find it ironic because every March we have St. Patty's Day, people put up fuck tons of Irish flags, get pissed drunk. There's all sing the rebel songs, a lot of which involve violence in Ireland and stuff. Nobody's ever complained about that. I'd certainly never begrudge somebody getting sloshed off their ass and passed out in public.
Dude, no, on St. Patrick's Day in Boston, everyone's Irish.
Right, and I think
Oh
that's...
God, we've been culturally appropriating for years.
Well, no, but I'm saying if people want to talk about dual loyalty, there's plenty. I mean, is that dual loyalty? I don't think so. Then there's Cinco de Mayo, and people do accuse a lot of these Mexicans who have their parties. They accuse them of dual loyalty, but I think the majority of people who celebrate Cinco de Mayo are just, like I said, they're trying to get drunk.
Who doesn't like parties? Isn't that why we named the whole political system after parties and stuff? Because people like them?
Okay, so there's what I think is...
Oh, our country was founded on keg parties and stuff. I thought one of the first congresses or something. GW frickin' had how 75 barrels of ale, whiskey, all these things of wine and stuff. Because Ben Franklin was notorious for stuffing things. So
yeah, Abraham Lincoln hid one in his hat.
Oh, so it was for a flask. That's my man.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to turn. I don't know, Johnny. Do you need to go, or are you still on to stay? Because
are we on for a lot longer?
Well, we're gonna get it. So while we were off the air, Memes clued me into a little certain something that happened at his Tulsi rally. Now, Memes, before we get into that, you do like Tulsi Gabbard. Would you say that you would be a Tulsi Gabbard voter?
I think at this time I basically said I was sold in the video. I'm more or less, unless something happens, I basically plan on voting for her in the primary. I mean, we'll see what happens with the general election and everything, but I more or less put in to volunteer and potentially host a Tulsi and Toffee party, as I believe it was called, because I believe it was about 10 minutes and 32 seconds into my video. I should have the timestamp somewhere. But essentially, when she first got into Congress, she was utilizing gastro diplomacy. And what that is basically you offer people food because people like to eat. Everybody's got to eat. And she had her mom make 450 boxes of this macadamia toffee and stuff. And then she asked her mom, "Oh, Mom, can you make 435 even larger boxes for not only the folks she was going to be serving with, but their staffs as well?" And that's one of the things. It's folks will say, "Oh, well, she's just a politician." And you know what? Maybe she is. She is a politician after all. But at least my experiences with her and what my video showed was basically during the beginning of the town hall, she was kind of going by, shaking hands. I kind of came after she was passing. She noticed me out of the corner of my eye. She came back and she shook my hand. So when I went up there, I just simply thanked her. I'm like, "Listen, man." I'm like, "Listen, hey, it's the little things that make all the difference." And just that thing right there, that is something telling a character. It doesn't necessarily make for the best photo op. It makes it kind of awkward. But then again, to be fair, I mean, when Dr. Ben Carson didn't hear his name on the Republican side of things, who stood there with him? Donald Trump. Donald Trump did. Was it awkward? Yeah, it was hella awkward and stuff. You saw Marco Rubio just kind of scooting through, going through there just because, I mean, that's the type of guy he is. But it's just, it was certain things like that. And do I agree with everything that President Trump says? Oh, absolutely, of course not. But I still end up voting for the dude just because I'm looking at my choices there, and it's like, you know what? I'm going to do this as a protest vote. I happen to be in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so my actual vote, the actual effect on the actual outcome, really didn't really mean anything in our current system. But all I know is I voted for him, and he ended up winning. It's the first time I ever picked the person that won.
So we have MC in the chat. He says that Tulsi
That's
Gabbard
very telling memes.
is naive and incompetent. But I'll say this. So
That was a joke, by the way.
Wait, with all due respect to MC, I'm hijacking this for a second. MC, you believe Andrew Yang's campaign is being ended on account of him doing whippets with folks.
Dude, doing whippets is fucking awesome.
His campaign will likely end at some point. I don't think it's going to be because he was doing whippets with folks. I just had to interject there. Sorry, continue.
So I would say, like, Tulsi Gabbard, I think she would be good staying where she is in Congress, where she's actually leaving because she's not running for re-election. Like I actually went to a town hall a couple months ago for a congressman in a neighboring district, Anthony Gonzalez, and like the dude, I don't think he would have had to do a town hall because most of the people they were going to vote for him anyway. Most of them were like older, like MAGA people, and you know the guy's like an Ohio State alumni. Like he played on the Ohio State team back in the 2000s. He was playing with Peyton Manning for the Colts, so you know there's a very low bar of expectations there. So all he was talking about was the trade treaty that he's trying to get through, and like he's like I was talking to his press secretary because I was there only to see some impeachment people. I thought they were going to show up, and she's like, "Yeah, nobody gives a shit about impeachment here. We're all about like constituent issues, so fuck that." You know, I'm paraphrasing, but
No, that's kind of what I got out of a lot of the folks over there. To be fair, at least there were some folks there that just want to see Donald Trump out of the White House, and I can understand where they're coming from.
Right. So the other thing that Mr. Memes of Destruction
So
told
it
me
means,
about.
do you like Donald Trump?
I mean, I voted for the dude. Do I agree with everything he does? Absolutely freaking not.
Okay, but are you happier with him than you are with Obama, for example?
I mean, Obama made people feel good, and I believe that President Obama, when he was in a room, he was basically, I think my brother Stats put it best. When Obama was in a room, you knew there was an adult in the room. That's the vibe I get. You can disagree with the guy on policy and everything, but I think a lot of the disdain for President Trump comes from the fact is not necessarily the direct policies he's implementing, because within a lot of it, it is generally within historical precedent. He has pushed some things, he has continued some policies, but I think just so much of this angst comes from the folks that fact bless you that he's fighting with people on Twitter.
You know, I just want to raise. Oh, go ahead, Bolt.
No, I was just saying salute, Vito.
Oh, salute. I just want to say, I find that there's a very fine line between liking a politician because of who he is as a person, or who she is as a person, who they are as a person, than liking a politician because of their policies. And when you just don't like a politician because of their policies, sometimes it's very difficult to get along with them as a person. I just wanted to say that firsthand because I've spoken to members of parliament before, and members of the National Assembly who I've really enjoyed like basic conversations with, but speaking to those who are kind of like on the complete other end of the spectrum, it's sometimes difficult to get along with them, or rather get on board with everything they have to say. So
you got drunk with Elizabeth May?
Oh, how did you know? Why would you just tell the world that? I can't believe you just ruined the whole secret.
Yeah, well, that would take too long to go into. But
hold on. I'm calling Frankie. Yeah, Frankie, we got a hit.
Old like a leopard and subsequent channels and affiliates do not endorse any type of violence, as this is currently a satirical bit here with the zombie version of Jimmy Rizzuto.
But yeah, Johnny Vito Rizzuto, the deceased head of the
Beautiful.
Montreal crime family.
Oh, are you related to Rizzo from the Muppets?
That was my other secret.
You have good pizza. Actually, the pizza wasn't the greatest. I forget. No, I don't
So
think
we gotta get to 9/11 because I'm like into this. So
Okay, go for it.
Mr. Memes went to this rally and he brought out some. And actually, I'm ashamed to say I've looked at first of all the notification. I never clicked on it, and then I saw like it was in my recommended, and I never clicked on it. And I was always like, oh, I gotta watch this because like Memes does some of these what do you call them, like man on the street things that he does, and I have checked out the ones he does in Boston, but this was in Manchester, New Hampshire, and a very interesting question came up to Ms. Tulsi Gabbard, who is of course Major Tulsi Gabbard, I should say. I don't want to insult her and Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, but here we go. So you know what? I have to send it to you guys in the Hangouts so that you can be able to.
Perfect. Send it.
Yeah, 1 second. So it's going to be right there. You got it?
Hold on. Let me see.
Because otherwise you won't be able to hear shit. So
okay.
I'm at 4212. Memes, do you got it?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
at 4212?
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I'm going to press play now. Oops.
Hi, Tulsi. I'd like to thank you for your service, both as an officer in the armed forces and in challenging this country's corrupt foreign policy establishment. So, at an earlier event, you were gifted a documentary exposing Israel's role in the 9/11 attacks. And I was wondering, have you gotten a chance to watch this documentary? And if so, has it convinced you that not only has the CIA collaborated with Al-Qaeda, but Mossad as well?
I have not watched the documentary. I would like to talk about some folks who I'm working with right now with regards to the attacks on 9/11. A little over a month ago, I was approached by family members of those who were killed in the attacks on 9/11, and they asked for my help because for so long now, they have...
So I'm pausing. I'm at 4323. Sorry, the trigger didn't hit as fast as you guys. But
pretty much the same place as you.
But the thing is, so Tulsi Gabbard is involved in a number of valid inquiries about various ties between the 9/11 hijackers and potentially the government of Saudi Arabia. And I think she's doing the best she can. And this has piqued the interest of a lot of people within the 9/11 truth community and other offshoots of it. And, obviously I myself have certain questions about it. I haven't focused on all of the theories, so you can forgive me. I'm sorry if I don't address all of them at the same time. And some people get really pissed off that you don't talk about World Trade Center 7 or the controlled demolition theory or any of that. But with apologies, that's not really my department. So I'm not trying to throw cold water on those aspects of it because I don't know as much. But this gentleman that was querying Ms. Gabbard was saying, well, you got sent a documentary and it exposes the ties between the Mossad, Al-Qaeda, and the U.S. government and setting up 9/11. And I just want to say that, look, if there are ties between Israel and the 9/11 attacks, you have to show tangible material evidence. And I'll tell you, I can't say for sure, and I'm not going to drag Memes into this because he was at the rally, but he didn't hear specifically what this guy was talking about, which video, or any of that. But my suspicion is this. It says here, on October 29th, a certain Ryan Dawson, who you might remember if you watch this channel, I debated concerning the 9/11 attacks, made an appeal to Tulsi Gabbard. So I'll have to send you guys this BitChute video because I think he does have censorship issues. I'll give him that. So he can't post all of his videos on YouTube, but he said, tell Tulsi to contact me about 9/11. So let me know when you guys are ready and I'll play the video.
Okay, where are you?
No, just at the beginning.
Oh, just the very beginning.
Yeah. So, you ready, memes?
Go for it.
All right. Play.
Hello. Big news. Okay. In noon tomorrow, it's like 1 a.m. America time right now. So at 12 o'clock DC time, Tulsi Gabbard is going to be meeting with the victims' families of 9/11 at this event. What I need you to do, because I have a guy on the ground with a thumbnail.
I'm just watching on Bold's channel.
Videos going over the Saudi role in 9/11. That's the most doable avenue to give to her. I need everyone from my YouTube, etc., to contact her to say, you need to speak to Ryan Dawson about 9/11. So you can Google 9/11 truth for grown-ups, etc. This isn't the wacky stuff. I released all the information that was in the 28 pages in the Empire Unmasked a year and a half before they got unredacted.
So pause at 58 seconds, Vito. So this guy, he was claiming the entire time in the Empire Unmasked that the 28 pages would expose Mossad links. They didn't, when they released the 28 pages, I believe they didn't really implicate the Mossad. I have to go through them, but I mean, the guy he's an attention whore, and he's trying, and she's actually trying to do something about this issue. And if he kind of, I guess, gets out of the way, maybe she could do something. I don't know. You know, maybe she can't do anything.
This guy at the beginning.
What?
Are we talking about at 0 seconds?
Well, I'm at 58 seconds now.
Right, but we were talking about like the guy who was talking about how he hasn't voted since like 1992.
Who?
We're talking about the same person here?
No, I just sent you another video, man.
Oh, okay. That's exactly what I was asking you anyways.
So, no, this BitChute video. I sent it to you 2 minutes ago. So do we have to go back to the beginning?
No, continue.
I think we have to go back to the beginning.
To be fair, if you want to liven up the mood, you should go to the question right before that during the campaign, because there's a gentleman there that brings up one of the much pressing questions that's addressed within our Constitution for setting weights and measures when and
I saw the video.
Is Representative Tulsi Gabbard going to support switching to the metric system?
Wait, so now, no, we're not gonna. Fuck that.
That's a legitimate
that's
question.
even worse.
That was basically everyone's response.
As a Canadian, I second that question.
All right,
okay,
so
we're going to use our old monarch frickin' seat and.
I'm playing the video from the beginning again. So it's a BitChute video, Vito. You ready?
Yep.
All right, play.
I mean, I saw the video.
Hello. Big news. Okay. In noon tomorrow, it's like 1 a.m. America time right now. So at 12 o'clock DC time, Tulsi Gabbard is going to be meeting with the victims' families of 9/11 at this event. What I need you to do, because I have a guy on the ground with a thumbnail. I made some short, concise videos going over the Saudi role in 9/11. That's the most doable avenue to give to her. I need everyone from my YouTube, etc., to contact her to say, you need to speak to Ryan Dawson about 9/11. So you can Google 9/11 truth for grown-ups, etc. This isn't the wacky stuff. I released all the information that was in the 28 pages in the Empire Unmasked a year and a half before they got unredacted. And I have a lot more info. You guys have seen my videos going back to the 90s. with the dry runs of the September 11th attack, how Mueller wasn't interested in
Okay,
it.
I'm at 58
Da
seconds.
da 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 da.
All right. Well, so he's been. So this is the Ryan Dawson guy that I told you
Okay,
about.
so this guy. Okay, I know exactly who he is.
So I'm at a minute 10 now. But
Okay.
in any case, he's just an attention whore. He's trying to get his foot in the door because she's looking into 9/11, and he is. So he's saying this is about the Saudi stuff. So let's keep playing it. I'm at a minute 10. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, I'm at a minute 10.
All right, play.
Contact Tulsi Gabbard. You can go to Tulsi 2020 and say, because she's meeting with the 9/11 victims' families, and they know all about this Saudi role.
No,
most
he's
of it,
just
as far as
trying
I
to
can
get
tell.
famous like many other
But, man,
people.
I can. If she would start bringing 9/11 up, she'd fly past that 2% number, and I think she'd get a lot of donations too. And I'm willing to Skype with her. I'm willing to get on an airplane and go. If I could talk to a congressperson,
I bet you would be willing to get on an airplane and go
even
see her.
a few minutes about what I know about 9/11, I think, man, we could finally go on the offense. Because right now, 9/11 truth is just going in circles. Because there's so much disinformation and so much like purity spirals and infighting and whatever. But I think we got the goods, and so you don't have a lot of time. You only have half a day. I don't know if we're gonna make
He
it in
calls
time.
it the
I do have
anti-neocon
someone there on the
news.
ground
I mean,
that's
how
gonna
much?
hand her thumb drive. I know a lot of her major donors, but I just found out about this, so that's the plan. Get on, be very polite. Very
He
adult,
could
very
have just go to a
professional,
town
write
hall.
quick email saying,
Well, he lives in
we'd like you to
Japan.
contact Ryan Dawson
Oh,
about
but he just said he would get on a
September 11th
plane.
information.
I think he did
And,
fly over here in the past month.
You know, you can go to ANC report, whatever.
What's his involvement in this whole like
She just needs to
conspiracy?
know
Like,
my
why
name.
why does he care? If
Pausing
he's
at
not even,
2:29.
if he doesn't even want to live in America.
He is. So a lot of people, they make it about the anti-Semitism or about you know, Israel or whatever. I think he has a personal vendetta. And the dancing Israelis, I think that's really why I've kind of latched onto that issue, because the proof is just so sloppy that, you know, the guy's just he's complaining about other people going in circles over the controlled demolition and over World Trade Center 7. Okay, you wanna throw sand on other people, throw shade at other people. Good for you, but I mean, he's not one to talk. The guy is just, you know, he's all over the place. If you look at his methodology, if you look at things that he's claimed in the past about Ziad Jarrah and other officials, other hijackers, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and he can't prove what he's saying. Everything is really in the theory. So hold on. So let me play the rest of the video and then we can talk about it. So I'm at 2:29.
Okay, I finished it.
Play.
And to look up my work.
He's a nut.
Because the more she hears about me,
He's a nut with good production.
then when somebody on the ground says, hey, I have some videos from Ryan Dawson about September 11th. I don't know if you've heard of this guy or not. She's going to say, oh, I've seen that in a lot of emails recently. I'll have a look at that. It's only 6 minutes. But if she watches it, she's going to get hooked. So I'm excited about this. This is a real, like, a game changer if it works. Could you imagine me advising somebody about September 11th, the grown-up version of September 11th, and being able to say that on Tucker and all these major shows? Real info, not, you know the bull. I think we could change. We change the world. I really think so. So the ball is in your court. You want a call to action? Now you got one. Peace.
So that was Ryan Dawson, and this is a guy who basically complained that he'd been hungover and didn't know it was a debate when he talked to me. So and I'm just some dude from you know, friggin' Ohio. So he thinks he's gonna go on a show and be able to present his stuff and then not have to deal with the scrutiny of getting the same types of questions asked that I asked him. So yeah, he sent someone. I believe, and I could be wrong, memes, so I'm not going to promise, but the person who was at the town hall that you were at was one of the people that Ryan Dawson, told to spread his message. And the truth is, I think if Tulsi Gabbard would pop on one of these videos, she'd be like, what the hell is this asshole talking about? It has nothing to do with the material that I'm going over. Or maybe it might be stuff that she's discovered already, and she'd be like, why do I need to even listen to this guy? If it's actually stuff about Saudi Arabia, who do you think would have the better access to the things that are pertinent to it? Someone who has been on the Foreign Services Committee or the Armed Services Committee in Congress, and who has a security clearance, and who's in the military, or some asshole from Japan who talks all the time about MMA. So,
Well, I
okay,
mean, I would assume committee appointment would give Representative Gabbard access to such files and documentation if that's something that they're reviewing. And my big thing is, when that was kind of brought up there, she didn't just immediately just call him a wacko or something like that, like maybe some other candidates did. She basically did refer to, as you said, she was looking into some of these items here and basically putting in requests for certain documentation and everything. And the thing is, it's like, maybe she didn't even answer the guy, but I mean, then again, she is a politician as well. But I mean, he basically just kind of, like you said, seemed to get out there to try to like pitch where that kind of message was coming from. So again, it does seem like a plausible scenario. Again, I can't confirm this. I didn't actually speak to him. Maybe I should have. I think he maybe left not that long after. Um, but but my big thing is with this, it's like,
you mean after he asked the question, so he didn't stay
right.
till the end?
No. He was there till the end.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure. And then no, he actually got up in line. I think he went to go meet with her and get a selfie.
Okay. So he could have actually just handed, maybe like told her, "Oh, I'm going to send this to you right now." So that's fine if he wants to send her this, but like I've been saying, if people think that like what Ryan Dawson does is actually credible investigative work, they have to realize that when you presume the guilt of someone and then you overlook any evidence that they may be innocent, and then you libel them in the media, I don't think that media outlets are going to want to host you. That's something that's happened over and over again. That's what happened with the Duke lacrosse case. So I also, I also credit her. She didn't like just shut the dude down. She's like, yeah, 9/11 is very important to me. I'm met with these people and all of that. But the fact is, I've been seeing this more often with the Groyper, uh, the Groyper encounters that these idiots like Charlie Kirk are having, and rather than do
Oh,
maybe
you don't like Charlie Kirk now?
no, so these people who are, do you like him?
I have a picture with him.
Okay.
No. Actually,
At McGill?
he added me on Twitter before I added him, which was kind of interesting because I went to that free speech event that Sargon had gone to back in 2018, and for some reason I added a few folks over there, and then I'm like, oh, who's this? Charlie Kirk. I'm like, oh, he's got like 1 million or something followers. He added me. That's interesting. But dude, my big thing is, I'm like, okay, I thought Dawson's Creek was a successful series. Like, what happened?
What's that?
No, I thought Dawson's Creek was a successful show. So like, I mean, is Hollywood just, like, not really in it anymore or anything? Like, I thought this dude, like, I thought he did well.
So okay, that's a nice dad joke already. But
Nice.
well, I think that brings me to kind of my issue with this whole topic of 9/11. Like, I actually looked at the evidence regarding the people who were arrested on 9/11 that are called the dancing Israelis. There were some movers, and the evidence points to the fact that they were a bunch of dickheads who got arrested for celebrating at the wrong place with people who were able to watch them, but there's no actual tangible ties between them and Saudi Arabia or any
Or the
plot.
Mossad.
Yeah, with Saudi or Israeli plots relating to 9/11. So there's no material proof against them. So
Wait. Was there like a birthday or something going on? Because like I may be a very bad Jew, but I thought in some traditions you would like kind of like jump and dance around and break glass and stuff like that. And
I believe with what was going on, I don't think that the celebration would have been, in full force. While and anyway, so
were they drunk? Is that
no,
all?
they were not drunk. These people were basically acting like dickheads, but yes, acting like dickheads. It's enough to arouse suspicion, and it's appropriate that someone tipped off the police, and then the police tipped off the FBI, and they arrested those guys, and they spent 2 weeks in prison, or sorry, they spent 2 weeks in lockup in New Jersey and in Brooklyn for it, and then they were investigated, and as far as I know, there were no tangible ties that were discovered. So, but now that they were released after 2 weeks, they were released to INS and then deported. So now that we're taking evidence that was collected that does not incriminate these people, and they keep rehashing it over and over and over again for so many years, that's where I see the real problem, that people don't feel it important enough when these people who are obsessed with 9/11 talk about it to go back to the evidence and say, hey, you see all of these clues that indicate that these people were not professional spies. They weren't. There's no proof that they were connected to an intelligence agency, and therefore, what are you supposed to charge them with? Where can you build the case from? You can build a house, but you can't build a house on a foundation of shit. So
Well, isn't it because the situation is basically kind of gone? Because like it basically in this situation, like you said, they were brought in, they were questioned, they were eventually released and deported. I
right.
think there might be many that are kind of bringing this topic up are citing the fact that they're deported and are kind of pitching it as, well, look, they're just trying to get rid of this. They're just trying to get rid of these people. So we can't actually look into this further. Whereas it may have been looked into. And it's like you said, it's like, well, they didn't find any actual tangible connections. And if you're going to make the assumption of guilt, like it seems like far too many people are nowadays about a number of individuals and topics. It's just, if we are going to be, and I realize this is involving me in bold, sorry to exclude you,
No, all good.
Mr. Risotto.
I think
But
Rizzuto knows about this
Almost.
too.
no. But my thing is, I'm like, we're in the United States of America. We have due process, and if we're going to have due process, we need to have due process. It doesn't matter. You're not always going to like the outcome of that due process, but that's what makes us a civilized society.
True.
Right, and the deportation, they do sometimes refer to it as a way, they were arrested for immigration offenses. So that's they like a lot of these people. They say, well, that's a way of hushing up allegations of espionage
We
by
had like
saying,
7 Russian spies that we just sent back, like during the Obama administration. I remember that was a thing.
right.
I remember they're trying to like be these celebrities and all these cool cats, and some of the folks like, ooh, serious.
Right. So I think that personally, this whole episode, if people would take it more seriously, the people, Charlie Kirk never has taken it seriously. The people who address the Groypers never do look into it. And I've actually contacted one of the people from Turning Points who I thought could be, someone who would listen to it, not because I want to help Turning Points, but because I thought he could be a good person to,
Did
kind
he
of.
help you?
Well, I thought maybe he could at least hear me out and talk, because I think Turning Points, to be honest with you, is they're just they're a business. Turning Points is a business. They're in the business of selling, selling their product, which is access to young people, to sell it to donors, and that's how they make their money. So I'm not a fan of Turning Point, but there was a person from Turning Point that I did contact. I asked them, check this out. I mean, you guys are not answering this question. It continues to fester. And the person said they're going to check it out, and I haven't heard back from them.
You just need to put up like a little 4 to 5 minute mashup video of basically just yourself debunking it and stuff. And I'm just saying this, and again, I'm more of like a liberal Democrat that believes in progress, but I'm just saying for the sake of quashing something that people bring up a lot of the time, if you just bring up, because I think I listened to part of your interaction, with Mr. Dawson there. And it was kind of like he was bringing up some things. And again, he was kind of going off his memory. And you have your tabs there and you're like, oh, this here. And you also seem to be a lot more well-versed in it than he was.
Right. That's the irony there, that he's been doing this for many, many years and he can't remember some of the basic facts and things that he's claimed. But in any case, so I think we've gone down that rabbit hole enough for today. But I think it's always good to get some news from people who are actually out there talking to people at these rallies, like you, memes. I'm gonna probably listen to the rest of your video, and let us know when you do another one of these things again, whether it's a Tulsi event or you might go to something else that's going on in the Metro Boston area. So anyway, I'll give both of you the last word. I guess Vito, you can go first if you want.
So I just wanted to say thanks again for having me on, and guys, please subscribe. Bold is the man for doing this. He's always coming through at these late times, making sure that even I can come through too to be on the show. Subscribe. You have also you have a Patreon?
No, I don't have a Patreon. I have a Subscribe Star.
A Subscribe Star, that's what it is. So you have a Subscribe Star. Go on Subscribe Star.
At Chef Weber.
Hit that donate button. Hit it. Send that guaps.
Right.
And if you don't, you know what's good for you.
So with that type of endorsement from Vito Rizzuto, how can I not succeed? So I'd like to also say, you can subscribe to Memes of Destruction. He's also in the chat. Memes, what's your last word?
No, I mean, if anyone wants to check anything out, the YouTube channel is the Memes of Destruction, at Meme Destruction on Twitter, and Turtle Power.
Turtle Power.
All right, and with that, we'll have another rendition. I mean, I should have told you, Vito, I had a Lord video at the beginning, so
here we
I know
go.
you're not a fan of Lord.
And do some Chumbawamba.
Well, she was covering the Phil Collins song In the Air Tonight, so I don't think she's getting any revenue. It's from the BBC, so she's not getting any revenue from it, but it's still her. So I'll talk to you guys later, and have a great night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend. Well, I don't know if you know who I am. Well, I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. Well, you can wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, and can you feel it coming in the air? remember, don't worry. How could I ever forget? It's the first time, the last time we ever met. But I know the reason why you keep your silence up. No, you don't fool me, 'cause the hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. No stranger to you and me. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, and can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, oh. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh. Well, I can feel it in the air tonight. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, yeah. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, yeah. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.